welcome back subscribers to another Sunday speed paint. It's art challenge time, and this time, to spice things up, I'm not going to chicken out on this and I'm not going to half-ass this. I am doing all 9 of these in one go, and I'm excited because I get to geek out with them and share it with you of the 9 video game franchises or characters in general that Vixie could fit in that are animal-based. Most specifically, Pokemon, Neopets, Digimon, Kung Fu Panda, Sonic, Animal Crossing, Zootopia, Lion Guard, and Spyro. Why these specifically? Well, it's because I didn't want to just pick 9 shows that inspired me because it would branch out way too far and I'd have human Vixie mixed with stuffed animal Vixie and it would just be too crazy for this video in particular. I'll probably make a second video to this where I draw inspired by anime or plushies that I've seen, but this one is mostly video games or TV shows where either it's a quadruped or bipedal version of Vixie could exist in the world, with a slight twist because I wasn't going to go ham and cheese on 2D sprites or 3D models, so I ended up going with my own 2D stylization mixed to make it look like it could fit into the universe, but not super heavy reference it like I used to, because I'm honestly gonna say there's a reason why I chose these franchises in specific, is because I wanted to practice how I would be able to render these if they handed me these kinds of character things and they wanted my art style as an example of, like, let's see how you would draw them if they were in the universe from your perspective. So starting off with Pokemon. I love Pokemon. It is like one of the biggest inspirations that I've had since I was a kid, and it's probably one of the longest besides Sonic, and I adore every single Pokemon. I am a Pokemaniac. I love all of the card games. I love all of the video games, the plushies, you name it, I probably have had it. And most recently, I have been binge playing Sword and Shield, trying to level it up since they had the expansion passes. I'm still a little salty about all the changes, but I'm rolling with it because I'm happy. And with Vixie, I wanted to turn her into a grass-type ground combination so that when you would play the game, if you were to choose her, she would just kind of be running around in a sort of like oak forest, sort of akin, similar to how my comic in the Dawn of Gales is, where Vixie lives in Oakenheart, and I'm honestly thinking about if I were to have a region, if it would be Oakenheart or not. Don't know, I'll probably make something like that later to expand on this, but I'm probably gonna make the evolutions of her so that you guys can see what she would look like later on down the line. But I kept it with a simple cell shading and a simple grass ground typing, and I'm actually really happy how this turned out, and I definitely have her on my team. As for a name, Oaksy or Stixy is all I can think of. Another franchise being Neopets. Oh boy, the memories of this. This one's pretty old, but I never stuck with it. Pokemon overtook this by a long shot and milestone, but the plushies and the computer game inspired me a lot as a kid. I'm pretty sure I drew quite a few different versions of the Neopets that were on the website, which has probably changed by now, but the simplicity of them was something that I enjoy because it was very to the point, almost like straight out of the crayon box, reds to blues, you name it, and they were all so cute. I don't remember a lot from it. That's the sad thing is. The only reason why this is on here is because I remember I had a Neopets plushie that I named Evoil, which was a combination of Pokemon, which again overtook it by a long shot, but that was an unintentional thing that happened. But I'm still happy regardless that I discovered Neopets because it did open up a different branch of like, wow, these are fantasy creatures, and this looks kind of like a fox, but not, and so I imagine Vixie in this would just be Vixie. I couldn't think of a funny name. And then we jump to Digimon. Oh boy, the memories from the show when I used to watch this as a kid. I used to watch the old TV show. I forgot where, if it was like 4chan or if it was on Cartoon Network before Cartoon Network decided to just completely remove anything anime or animated that wasn't a part of the new stuff, but that's besides the point. I loved Digimon for its design and the creatures were fascinating to me, but once again, unfortunately Pokemon overtook this by a mile because of how much access there was to Pokemon versus Digimon. I remember that I used to have a few, I want to say I had cards, but I don't even know if they had cards anymore, but I remember I had some merchandise for Digimon, but it was very hard for me to find much, so I just remember watching the show, and what has now been labeled an unfortunate furbait is Renamon, my favorite, who I think is kind of like a kitsune fox, which does take some inspiration for why Vixie looks like this, but I also forgot just how much, like, mecha Digimon can be after they digivolve to their like final stages, but the amount of Digimon that there are, they'll kind of start off as these adorable little slime balls where they just kind of have a few little features that kind of hint at what they're going to kind of digivolve to. But yeah, I thought I would draw Vixie if she was kind of like in a middle to final stage. And as with all the Digimon, they have to have a funny name that ends in mon. So here is just Vixamon. Yeah, I know, very clever. Moving on. Kung Fu Panda and all of its movies. I love each and every single one of the movies, and though some people find it cheesy or some people just really don't like it, I personally took a large influence from it of the fantasy elements and the way that the anthropomorphic creatures exist in their world, and the story for each character is just, it's scrumptious. It's so good, I love it, and the connection between Tigris and Master Shifu and Tai Lung and everybody in this, just, it made me want more of it, and seeing them as kids to adults and the way they handled Master Oogway, and there are no accidents. I love it so much. It is a show that is definitely something I will look into when trying to do a bit more research on how to develop characters' stories individually when having so many characters. And for Vixie, if she was in this world, switching her for magic to just being a staff-wielding badass of martial arts sounded so much fun to me. I could just imagine her walking around trying to smack people with her staff. I think that's enough training for today. How about we go get some lunch? You've earned it. And then we get to Sonic, the core of it all, the thing that started me down the rabbit hole of art and furries from the get-go. Besides Lion King, Sonic was absolutely like the highest tier of everything spawned from this. Ranging from the Sonic X TV shows, the Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure 2 video games, all the way up to most recent games, which I hate so very much, and Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite and will always be my favorite until they make a game similar to it to bite me. Then there's also with the plushies and the t-shirts and you name it, I had it, and illustrations and fan comics and things on the internet that I shouldn't have seen at the age that I did, but because the World Wide Web is so accessible, I discovered many things, and I adore... I'm just gonna say it. I adore the Yaoi ships, okay? I'm one of those people who used to ship Sonic and Silver and Shadow and Amy and Tails and Knuckles all together in one big conglomerate pile of Yaoi. There you go. I hope YouTube doesn't demonetize this. It's just a small thing that I discovered as a child, but I retained my innocence because Sonic the Hedgehog, it kind of faded over time, but I still like it. The show, the games, you name it. I still have a fond memory attachment, and it's something that I will forever hold on to as something that helped me with discovering that I like anthropomorphized designs more than human designs. And it's something that, as far as the adventures and fantasies go for, I still like the old illustrations. And like I said, even with the Sonic Adventure 2 models, I liked those. Those were really cool. And even Sonic, I think it was called Free Riders, had some really cool animations. That would have been nice if they could have turned that into an animated show properly rather than what we got. But I guess Sonic Boom has some unintentionally ironic humor to it, which is good, but not my favorite. And overall, I have to say thank you, Sonic, for putting me on the path of art, but also, Internet, I despise you for ruining my innocence as a child, but I'll talk about that in another story time if you guys want to hear about the discoveries of Sonic and Shadow comics on the Internet. Guys, I think I see the Chaos Emerald. It's just over the valley. Come on, if we hurry, we can make it there before Eggman. On to another franchise that I am obsessed with, but unfortunately didn't start discovering Animal Crossing until New Leaf, but it was still a long wait for New Horizons, and I adore it so very much, and I constantly play the game and constantly trying to improve my island because it's never perfect enough, but that's besides the point. I also play on my own. I don't really have anybody whose towns I can visit, so the items that I get are limited to me playing pretty much every single day and trying to catch as many of the balloons as possible to get recipes, and waiting for holiday updates. I'm still waiting for my cafe. I would love to have Brewster back, but we're still waiting on that, and it's past fall time, so Don't know when that update will come, but I hope it comes next year, because I'd love to have an excuse to decorate an outside cafe. Sorry, I'm holding a grudge on that because I'm really excited with all the updates in Animal Crossing, and I love all the villagers, and I'm one of the few people who didn't get to actually experience the cranky type villagers that took quite a tank, apparently, where they're no longer as cranky. But I gotta say, I love all of my villagers, and I wouldn't really change much about them besides maybe adding a few more dialogues to them to give me an extra reason to visit them, but I still like to visit them. And with the art style of Animal Crossing being that the character models are so vastly different but still having pretty similar bases, is something that I wish I could keep in my style for consistency's sakes, but just not quite as cheapified as Animal Crossing's sort of short, stout, chubby character designs are, but it is definitely one of the reasons why it caught my attention. As far as art from other franchises that draw my attention, one of the things you guys may have noticed with all of these is that they're very eye-catching with colors and designs and personality, and Animal Crossing is definitely one of those that caught my attention, where it's calming to just kind of sit back on your own little adventure in your own world, whether you're the mayor or just a part of an island in New Horizons, and getting to share and experience the fact that you get to walk around in the town with all of these super friendly animals that just want you to help them pick some apples off a tree and deliver letters because they're too shy to do so to the others. But if Vixie was in this universe, I imagine she would probably be an Uchi type and would probably have a lot of crystals or pastel to the decorations in her house. More fun with furries. We have Zootopia. Oh my goodness, I want a sequel. There needs to be a second one of these. I will fight people if it doesn't get produced. I'm kidding. I don't think I'd have the strength to fight off an army of producers. But regardless of that, this style was one that took me quite a while because I wanted to do some textures, so I basically got out of my comfort zone yet again, just like I did with Animal Crossing and Kung Fu Panda style, and I decided to paint over my line art so that it was a sort of painterly style. I both have good and bad things to say about it. A good thing about it is that I am discovering different ways to texture if I decide to use this for my Webtoons comic. Not so good is it definitely doesn't look like it would be able to be rendered in a 3D way without it being overly complicated, but that's the whole point of me drawing in 2D and using Procreate. I wouldn't really want to animate Vixie like this, but for the Zootopia world, I definitely would love to see how Vixie would handle that, because instead of it being the fantasy element like I have where she's off casting magic, I imagine she would probably be like me, trying to work on creating illustrations and getting them out to people, showing what you can do in such a huge bustling city, and just kind of showing that even a small fox like her can do it, so anybody else can do it, and living up to your dreams no matter what they are, as long as you're not hurting anybody, is something that is worth fighting for and trying to do. And honestly, I could see her running around the town with Ikorus, her partner, and just having a blast, just enjoying going to these vast forest areas when there isn't scary things happening, and just having a whole bunch of adventures of her own, trying to find the best place to draw. And my god, the scenery in Zootopia. If I, as Vixie, was there, I would be taking so many photographs and drawing so many, because every environment there is so unique, and I'll definitely take inspiration from my comic for some environment. Come on, Ikorus, hurry, we need to get there before the train leaves. I want to be able to go and see the waterfalls in the glacier area. Hurry up! Oh my god, we get to the Lion Guard finally. I have so much passion for this show, and watching it up to season 3 was absolutely well worth the wait, and I wish there was another season, because I want to see more of Cayenne and the Lion Guards with the Night Pride and everything that they did to tie everything back into the Lion King 2 film. It's a little bit spacey on the story part, but the story that they added with the Night Pride sold it for me, and I would love to see more stuff like that. The fact that they've added in such a wide variety of animals, ranging from the hilarity of the baboons to more of the unique creatures of the snow leopards and leopards, and even the red pandas. They were so cute. But Adding more personality to the hyenas was something that was fun. At first, I honestly didn't like them and Jonja's crew, but when they added Jasiri, yes, I love it. I love it so much. It's something that, especially with the animation, I will do more research on because I like the art style. It is simple but fun to watch the animation. It's almost like a 2.5 style where it's not quite 3D, but it's got some 3D models thrown in there sometimes, and it's definitely something I would want to research more for that. And the characters each have some pretty cool backstories, even if it's something simple in a short 3-season TV show. I want more of it. And for this, she'd be a fennec fox, a desert-dwelling, dirt-digging fox. And then we get to Spyro the Dragon, my all-time, hands-down, absolute favorite thing besides Pokemon when it comes to world building. I love the Reignited series. It brought me so much nostalgia. Besides a few glitches here and there in video game aspects, it was hard to have Spyro basically feeling like he was swimming through syrup, but it was such a fantastic art improvement. It was such a glow up to see all of the characters and everything in that world and see Spyro and all of their low polygons have such a large change. And this is one of the worlds where Vixie could absolutely exist because of Spyro the Dragon 2. And it would be amazing to see Spyro going through a portal and just having a small section of the Dawn of Gales with Oakenheart where Vixie is sitting in the oak tree and she's there as the greeter, and it's just like, oh, we need your help taking care of some of these bad guys, and just having Spyro headbutting some of my villain characters would be absolutely hilarious. And I will probably expand on the art from this because Spyro has glorious backgrounds, glorious everything with the Reignited style, and I want to get my grubby little claws on the art book if it wasn't so expensive. But I didn't know for the longest time that Sheila the kangaroo was a woman. I learned that now thanks to the redesigns, and I love Bianca and Alora, and I want to see Ember in this style. A dragon? We've never seen dragons in these parts. You say you came from another realm? That's fascinating. Tell me more, please. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys thought of this 9 sort of art style conglomerate challenge that I had done here, and let me know which one of these was your favorite, which one of these worlds would you want to see Vixie in a little bit more, or hear me talk about. And if you guys like this, please consider supporting me. I have a link tree down below for Patreon exclusives and get your name read out in the end of the credits, and in my personal opinion, I think the Pokemon and Spyro were my favorite out of these. It was a great learning experience, and if you're not already part of the Subscriber Squad, put your paws to that subscribe button for weekly content. See you in the next video. Bye-bye!